War Report coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Berry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out SmackDowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here, no safe space. Now listen in, time to hear from some of the greats.
Smell what The Rock is cooking.
What better way to start 2024 and the War Report After Dark than The Rock returning once again?
Finally.
We have so much to talk about. Welcome, everybody. Happy New Year. Another year for the War Report After Dark. We're going to jump around a lot tonight. But first things first, before we get fully into it, I do have a little bit of a quick announcement. Starting next week, we are going to have a new addition joining us here on the War Report. And the only person on the show that knows him is Al. And it's going to be Money Making Mitch. And here's why I want to bring Mitch to the podcast.
This is awesome.
Mitch,
Besides the name?
so Mitch has just become a wrestling fan as of 2023.
Oh my god.
Oh, wow.
These are fresh eyes
That's
who
crazy.
don't know all the history. And the input that he could give is fresh eyes and being a fresh fan of pro wrestling. And I want to go on record. He is now a wrestling fan because of Al and myself. We have converted Mitch to the point where I got a text when they were in Brooklyn that him and his girlfriend not only went and got tickets to SmackDown, but he bought Uso shirts and Bloodline shirts. So
Wow.
we got him hooked in. He's going to join us. I think it'll be a nice, different side and view. You know,
Okay, but the major important question, though, you've trained him not to be a Zoe Stark fan, though, correct?
I mean,
Triple S.
do I even have to answer that question?
Maybe there's a new viewer listening tonight, too, just in case.
He actually showed up to her house with a Triple S shirt on.
He knows what to say and what not to say to be able to stay on the show.
Vince, he's already ahead of us then.
Well, you guys, sometimes you guys get away with murder, but that's all right though. Because,
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And then of course, before we dive into the elephant in the room, before we got on the air, our good friend over at YouTube, David Rosca, Happy New Year, Happy 24. The Rock is back and will win this year's Royal Rumble. We'll get into that. I don't think he's actually going to be in the Rumble, but we'll kind of dive into that. And then also with David, okay, I can see it. She comes back for the Rumble, eliminates Zoe Stark, then puts Stark over at WrestleMania in Trish's retirement match. I like it, buddy. I mean, listen, you won me at eliminate Zoe Stark. So, I'm good there. I could see that. I could see that, and it would be a good Trish move.
She did. She made a tweet either at the end of the year, right around midnight or whatever, to celebrate the new year, and kind of hinted that she could be back. So,
well, she actually
why not Royal Rumble?
Zoe Stark won some award on the Busted Opens yearly thing. And she said what she really wants is to be able to finish her story with Trish Stratus. So, I mean, the story's kind of there. So we'll see. Trish Stratus said she coming at the Women's Rumble 24. I wouldn't be surprised. OMG, I went freaking apeshit when he came out. Facebook user, I'm going to assume Tara.
Yeah.
I think we all did. I mean, if you go on TikTok and you just type out Rock reactions, and some of them some of them looked exactly like how I looked when I was sitting on the. I mean, it's, you know what it is. So let's get into it. I loved how first we got Jinder Mahal, and I sat there and I just started laughing, and I was like, okay, here we go. Maybe Vince is back in the writer's booth, but I gotta tell you, Jinder came out and cut one hell of a promo.
That he did.
He really did a great job, and then of course gets interrupted with The Rock, and I wasn't so shocked that it was The Rock because I had heard things throughout the day that he was seen with Nick Khan and he was there, so I kind of figured. And then it was something Jinder said, like at one point he said, he said something that just, I don't know, it triggered, like, all right, The Rock, he said finally on something, and I was like, okay, that's
He
gonna
said
be
the
The
millions
Rock.
and millions too.
He said that too. So The Rock comes out, looks great, cuts a great promo on Jinder. Jinder takes it to The Rock. The Rock obviously comes back, reverses into the spine buster and the most electrifying people's elbow, and then grabs the mic and he, cuts another little bit of a promo. Thanks everyone, wishes everyone a happy new year, and then says that he's hungry and he's going to go out and get something to eat. And he just wanted to know if he should sit in a booth or at the bar. And then we're all sitting here and we're like, he's not going to say it. He's not going to. And then he says, or should I sit at the head of the table? That's where I marked the fuck out. I couldn't believe, I was like, okay, here we go. The stage is set. And then I started laughing. And all I could say is, holy fucking shit. Cody really is not going to finish the story. Like, I don't know what they're going to do now. You obviously now have to have Rock versus Roman. The question is it going to be for the belt or not? You don't necessarily need to have the belt, but then Al, like he said, we were talking about it earlier, he's also so close to breaking Hogan's record at this point. So what do? The Elimination Chamber's coming. If The Rock wins the Elimination Chamber, he earns the right for a title shot. Like, I don't know what's happening, but the fact that he said it, there's no going back now. Like, that's the match. Like, we are getting The Rock versus Roman. And Al, I told you so. I told you so.
You did.
So we have Dave. Problem is that 3-way on Friday is now a waste because whoever wins has no shot. Well, that happens to be very true also. It's also, did anyone see the footage of Cody apparently on Raw after?
No.
Okay, hold on. I have to play this. I imagine this is real, but I mean, it definitely looks like, it's him.
Because before I enter the Royal Rumble in 3 weeks, I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest. I don't hate Triple H. I don't even dislike him. I hate this idea that Dwayne is the guy, because he's not. I'm the guy. I'm the guy who should be Roman. There's one thing that Dwayne is better at than I am, and that's kissing Triple H's ass. And yeah, maybe I'm sometimes on Jimmy Kimmel. Maybe I'm sometimes on Jimmy Fallon. But the matter of the fact is I should always be. And folks, this isn't sour grapes, but the fact that Dwayne is in the main event of WrestleMania this year, and I'm not, makes me sick. I want you all to die.
Where did he say this?
That's like the pipe bomb promo though.
So he was in the ring doing this after the show?
This apparently was in the ring after the show.
That sounds like an
What?
AI voice or
But
something.
why don't
Is
you
that
hear the
real?
crowd at all, though, making any reaction to that?
It's also a recording, so I don't know.
Yeah, but
Like I said, I don't know how accurate. Part of me, like the Cody that we've been seeing since coming to WWE, I can't imagine he would go out there and shoot on Triple H even after they went off the air. So again, I don't know how accurate it is. I think you're killing yourself if that is a real shoot on Triple H and management. But,
Yeah, I don't think it is.
I mean, listen, from a business point of view, is it, if The Rock is telling you, okay, it's a go, how do you not go with The Rock?
Well, the game is sell more tickets, right? So
Right.
yes,
From a
they-
business standpoint, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're getting the return of The Rock, and now we might actually get a little more of him between now and WrestleMania, which is kind of cool.
The thing with that is if that's legit or Cody feels any certain way, I don't know. That's pretty much like I get it. He wants his moment, but that's shame on him. He knows better than that. He owned the company before, or he was
but
part
that
of
was-
the company. And
It's
he
not
knows-
up on any of like the
That
wrestling
was the-
sites either. They would have blown that shit
Yeah,
up.
100%. I didn't see none of that today.
Plus,
Because like
it's,
when
it
Seth
was
did the whole Bray Wyatt thing at Madison Square Garden, that thing blew up within 20 minutes of him doing it. No one's covering it.
That's true too. Well,
I-
Dave A says that
yeah.
that was also that was an old Punk promo, so
right.
it might have just been dubbed over, and you know.
yeah.
And then Dave says it's also pretty much guaranteed Punk wins the Rumble. I mean,
don't know.
well, I could see that because Punk wins the Rumble, and now you officially have Punk Rollins because that match is happening. Like
Right.
that match is happening at Mania.
What do you do with Cody?
Well, see, here's the thing, though. The rumor is that, and I'm just saying the rumor, and I don't know if that it's even remotely true. But there's one guy on Twitter. His name is Boozer, like Carlos Boozer. He's got a pretty good track record for breaking stories, and he's saying that Reigns Rock might happen at the Elimination Chamber in Australia as a way to pump up that show and make it like more meaningful.
But do
as
you
a-
have that match not at WrestleMania?
in my mind, no. But if you're but here's then the little once that gets leaked out, people start going, oh, well, that means that Roman is going to beat The Rock at Elimination Chamber so that he looks even more dominant going into WrestleMania, so that when Cody beats him, it's a big deal. It all
Well-
sounds like a fucking stretch to me, though.
Here's the way how they could do that though.
But what about Orton too? Sorry, Kat.
No. But I was gonna say this could be a head of the table match. It doesn't have to be a title match, like how
I've been saying that
Roman
for a long
got
time.
pinned. Roman got pinned by Jay when it was the Roman Solo Sikoa Usos tag team match. That there was no belts on the line whatsoever.
Right.
It was just straight tag team match.
I've been saying
Head-
for a very long time that you could just do a match for the head of the table.
Right, but so they
that
do
I
that-
agree. But then, are you saying that they should be taking the belt off of Roman prior to WrestleMania?
No, what I'm saying is that The Rock can beat him at the Elimination Chamber, proving that he's the head of the table, and then Roman Reigns is going into WrestleMania already half defeated.
Well, I don't see the situation where Roman doesn't go over if The Rock and Roman wrestle. Number one, and
Right.
and it like that's very
kinda has to
odd
win,
to see.
yeah.
I don't see that happening.
Well, you can't imagine that this is going to be more than a quick hit when it comes to The Rock, right? I mean, between his movie
Right.
schedule and everything else,
Yeah.
he's not going to be able to win a title and be around. And although nowadays you don't have to be around to be a world champion. So,
yeah,
Wow.
11 matches in a year. Talk about it.
well, right. But I'm saying, like, I don't think The Rock would do that. So I don't see how The Rock goes over Roman. I think
Yeah, no,
Roman,
I don't see that happening. And
this
at the end of
is
the
going to
day,
be the passing of the torch.
it's like Vince says, right? As the patching of the torch, and also like Vince says, at the end of the day, if the goal is still to have Cody Roman at WrestleMania, you want him going there invincible because you want that David versus Goliath matchup. You know, like you want him going in there like if he was Brock Lesnar when he's the Beast incarnate and stuff. You know, like unbeatable, which is what you will have if he beats The Rock and he passes the torch. So now you have the match you're looking for, but I again, that match should not happen at a mid card pay-per-view. That's definitely
Well, I mean, Elimination Chamber is kind of a bigger show. This
The mid-card.
the stadium in Australia, I think, is 60,000 seats.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is going to
Oh.
be a big show. And I mean, if The Rock is officially announced for that chamber, it's going to sell out immediately.
And you know what, too? Thinking about it, it's, Rock's schedule is very limited. So there is a possibility that that's the only time he has, and they could capitalize in that for that pay-per-view with him there and, proceed from that point on, I believe.
Dave A posts a really great question. Who does the rest of the bloodline side with?
CM Punk and Paul Heyman when they turn.
Oh,
Good call.
But I don't. Do you think Heyman turns on Roman before Mania?
He could cost him the match for all you know.
At Mania.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what I would think.
And then you have to turn. No, not the double turn, but then you'll have to turn for Roman could become a face, and he could start beefing with CM Punk without a title.
But I don't think Punk's going after Roman at Mania. I think he's going after Seth.
yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, Punk is going after Seth for sure. That match is happening. There's
So it doesn't
no
matter
doubt.
about CM Paul Heyman has to then turn.
Yeah.
His turn then goes back to CM Punk after the bloodline has been disintegrated.
So now
which then
we go
again
back
means
to the
Rock
question.
has to win.
Well, which also goes back to the question: who does the bloodline side with? I mean, that's very interesting. And because The Rock is there, do we finally get the elders? Like, does Rikishi and Alpha and Sika? Like, does everyone?
Oh yeah.
And Rock's
Yeah.
mom and so who's everyone
But all
going to
this
side with?
shit-
Maybe they all get involved. You know what I mean?
I hate to say it, but all this shit is more everything you're saying is WrestleMania worthy instead of Elimination Chamber worthy. And how are we going to get The Rock's
In Australia, by
mom?
the way.
How are we going to get 80-something-year-old Alpha and Sika haul their asses on a 14-hour flight to Australia? It ain't happening.
Well,
So
that's true too.
I don't know, man. I just
Well, not the Undertaker did it. No.
now what about if you're Cody and then you're because all right, so here's how the last year or so has shaken out. Cody loses at WrestleMania. And he's like, all right, we'll get him next year. They already told me I'm going to be in the main event, whatever. In the last 3 months, CM Punk comes back, and now Punk's like, well, fuck it. Now I've got a WrestleMania main event. And then The Rock just comes in and shits on both of them. He's like, fuck both of your WrestleMania main events.
Well, bottom line, one of the nights, one of the championship matches is not going to be a main event.
Maybe.
I mean, well, that's the other thing too, right? Like, let's say we are getting Rock Roman at Mania. Like, let's say that's happening. That's got to be your main event of night 2, right? Over the title.
Absolutely.
It's got to
Absolutely.
be. So
But there's that.
You're going to open with the title match when that's the main event, actually.
well, I could see that's the other thing too. Like, Seth Rollins is often opening pay-per-views with title matches, and Punk is not going to be okay with that at WrestleMania.
Well,
Yeah.
We lost him
but-
10 years ago because he wanted main event. It wasn't good enough that
he
fighting
could he
Undertaker.
could get night 1 main event, but he's definitely not getting night 2 if The Rock is lined up.
he's definitely.
Well, I
not
don't see him getting night 2 regardless, because Roman Reigns is getting night 2.
The
So-
night 1 main event
It's
should not
halftime.
even be called the fucking night 1
Is
main
the
event.
halftime?
It's a right. Yeah, it should be like the halftime show or something. It's not. It doesn't count. Hey.
David Roska. The Rock will win his second Royal Rumble since 2000. I don't think he's in the Rumble.
I don't see him
He
going.
doesn't need
That's
to
a
win the
lot
Royal
of risk,
Rumble.
man. That's a lot of risk for an actor like that.
And I
They're not
also
gonna put
feel
him in
like
the ring
if
with
he was going to
15
go
other
in the
guys.
Rumble, he would have announced it last night and said, by the way, I'm entering the Rumble.
Yeah.
Correct. To build the
Well,
hype for it.
Right.
You know-
I don't think he's in it.
To play devil's advocate, he could come out at number 30 and dump somebody over the top, and that's it.
I mean, he could, but fucking A, we've seen it. so
Yeah,
many-
really
That's
though.
Brock
He doesn't-
Lesnar's job.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
I feel like he's The Rock. He doesn't need to win the Rumble.
Right.
You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? Like,
But will Roman accept the challenge? You know how it always goes. Roman doesn't accept the challenge straight out the gate. So, what's The Rock is going to have to somehow, I don't want to say earn his title shot, but earn his title shot.
The Rock will talk so much shit, even if it's a video promo, that he'll
Right.
get him so angry, and if he starts to get him to think something with Solo and Jimmy, and
all right.
he can manipulate the situation. David Rosca, The Rock versus Roman Reigns Elimination Chamber. I think he's right, which I'm not happy about. I that should be a Mania thing. I know you want Cody to finish his story, but I think
I
that
don't give a shit
gotta
about
be a
Cody's
Mania
fucking
thing.
story.
I know
Yeah,
you
Cody's
don't,
story
but
took like a back. Cody's story for me is behind Orton at this point.
I happen to agree. But at the end of the day, they're gonna want to finish his story.
Yeah, it just sounds like every time I hear it, it sounds like a catchphrase that was made in a laboratory. Like it sounds like something that 20 people sat around a table and they're like, "Finish the journey."
It was the last thing that Kevin Dunn
Finish the
came up with.
story. Like some fucking focus group made this catchphrase and now they've overused it. It was like a go from undesirable to undeniable, and Cody
It
tried
was
to
the
get that
last.
over.
It's the last term of endearment from Kevin Dunn. I don't know what to tell you.
There was
Oh,
a
yeah.
meme. There was a meme that I saw, and it was Cody flying on the dragon from Neverending Story, and it said the Neverending Story, and it was
Oh.
the American. It was so funny.
I like the one. Did you see it was Cody and Roman with? They use that thing to make you look old, the old
Yes.
people filter. Yeah, and it
Mhm.
was like
Yeah.
WrestleMania 74 or something.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I don't know. This is exciting. I mean, this is what a way to start the year.
Well,
Oh,
the
yes.
thing- and the crazy thing about this, right, is that now this literally changes everything. Because it's a ripple
Everything.
effect. Like there's so many different. Now you need to find a different opponent for one of your main superstars, whether it be Cody or Punk. One of them is going to have to go in a different avenue that's not a championship avenue, which is going to suck for one of them. But
Only if
and-
they
and-
do it
and-
at Mania.
and again, here we talking about just these guys, right? And then Orton just came back, and then there's a guy that was the hottest thing on ice since fucking ever, LA Knight, that we didn't even mention yet. Out of all these people we haven't mentioned, what
AJ
is he
Styles.
going to do? And you still have Gunther, your Intercontinental Champion. Like this is a great time to be a fucking fan. It really is.
Can you imagine if so far, like let's say the Elimination Chamber didn't exist and we're just solely talking Mania, right? Think about right now, you have very high potential that you're getting CM Punk, Seth Rollins. You're getting Rock versus Roman Reigns for head of the table. You're getting possibly
Gunther with
Brock
somebody.
Lesnar versus Gunther because that's being talked about. I mean,
That's
right
been rumored for a
there,
while.
this is going down as possibly one of the greatest WrestleManias.
And keep in mind, right? You have not mentioned Solo. You haven't mentioned the Usos.
Right.
You haven't
Right.
mentioned Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, LA Knight,
So
Cody
many.
Rhodes. Like you
Or
haven't
the-
mentioned none of these guys.
Or the
And they-
possible return still of Andrade also as well.
Yeah.
Andrade, and then let's not forget, there's still possibility that we're getting Sasha Banks back.
Yep.
Oh, there's
AJ
a
Lee.
possibility. Julia from Japan.
And
Yeah,
aren't
I
we
heard
getting
that
what's
too.
his name's wife? I forget her name real quick. The old lady from
AJ?
TNA.
Brandy Rhodes.
No.
Wait, who?
Who?
The other one. Aldis's wife.
Oh, Mickey James.
Oh, Mickey
Oh, yeah,
James.
Mickey James.
There's rumors
Yeah,
Mickey James might be coming back too.
I've been hearing that too, which obviously a good time would be the Royal Rumble. Dave A, of course, carrying cross. Well, listen, the only thing I can say is we're starting to see direction of something
Yep.
new and a potential rebirth of Karrion Kross. I'm with Dave. I'm a big Karrion Kross guy. I always have been, even when they fucking brought him up and put him in dominatrix shit and ruined him to have Scarlet and all that. I stuck with him. I'm a fan, even though he just can't pay for a win. But it looks like things are starting to change. So we just gotta hope that they actually book it right this time. I mean, he
Right.
shouldn't be so fucking hard to book. And
Rumors.
and
The rumor is him and AOP.
AOP
with
with
are gonna
Ellering
get together.
with Ellering back.
And supposedly he will be on TV regular. They will be on TV regularly. So
Yes.
hopefully it's a push for him, man, because he's a great talent. I just don't know. I don't understand why he's so lost. Like you give so many other people, like Tagawa gets more TV time than him. Like how does that happen? You know, like it doesn't make sense.
I happen to agree. Something else that we haven't talked about yet that we really should mention, especially from last night. I love how they had the Judgment Day music and then it went into his, and how off the wall, even everything on the shirt where he had duct tape and he had his name added to the shirt, and then teaming with the Miz, but really thinking he's working with the whole.
Tell me they can't sell those shirts
Oh my God! Yes.
Oh, yeah.
With the
with the
thing.
tape on.
Yeah.
it.
Right.
will-
Not the tape, but you know.
I
the
will
graffiti
order
of the
one
tape.
immediately.
I would
will
buy
order
one with the
immediately.
tape. Yep.
100%.
But
Judgment
I
Day
mean,
will make so much money off
He's
our
such a
truth.
Hall of Famer. You know, and
The
he
man
can
is
still go in the
pure
ring.
genius.
And he can still go in the ring. He can.
He
still
looks
go.
great.
He looks
Guy's
great.
50
Yeah, he
something.
looks
Looks
in good shape
awesome.
and everything.
But he is just unbelievable.
I
He
can't
is
listen
just
to the
so
Golden
good.
Girls. I can't listen to the Golden Girls theme song the same after him doing that bit on TikTok though.
Oh, it was so funny. So funny.
He's
All right.
genius.
Well, first half an hour, we just broke down quite a bit.
Yeah.
What do you guys want to shift to now?
Oh,
You
what do
wanna-
you guys want to talk about?
Exactly.
What do you want to talk about?
I
Another-
hate that fucking saying.
Another
Oh, it
catchphrase
drives me crazy.
that was another one that came from a lab. Nobody just comes up with that.
Oh, of course.
Um,
Although, by the way, another great Shinsuke vignette.
Oh,
and then
yes.
spinning the mist into the camera and the whole. I
Yes,
love
very
everything.
good.
He's
He needs to win, and he's not going to. And it's just
No,
another.
that's really the
I
problem.
might
Is there's so
have
much
to
talent.
read Shinsuke's version of The Nightmare Before Christmas and everything next year to my kids. Not gonna lie,
We'll probably have it on www.shop.com.
I would probably get it. That's gotta
Oh,
be better
by
than
the way,
on a shelf.
Before we move on, we didn't even mention the Judgment Day out of all those people. Keep that in mind.
Right, all the names we listed.
Oh, yeah,
we
that's
didn't even
true.
include-
We didn't even name the
'cause-
Judgment Day or Drew McIntyre
That's
Because-
true.
And Drew and Damien did try to cash in again last night.
I got to
Drew
tell you though.
kicked
Can I
his
just
ass.
tell you too? The booking I think was stupid last night.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
That
so?
that
I agree.
segment with The Rock should have closed the show.
Oh, well,
Because
Yeah.
you had The Rock just finished saying, or should I sit at the head of the table? And now we're going into the main event. And by then I didn't give a shit. I had no care in the world about that match. I hardly watched it until the end when I heard the announcers going, Damien's cashing in kind of shit, and then I paid attention. But I didn't give a shit. Like
I
at that
really-
point, nothing
I don't
else
remember
mattered.
the
Right.
show, honestly. I really don't remember the show now that you said that.
It was a good show, I have to say. Like, listen, even you had Becky Lynch, Nia Jax, which actually was a good match. And here's the other thing too: it looks like blood is okay again.
Yes.
To an extent, they're allowing blood. They didn't stop. Becky Lynch was bleeding again, and they let it go. So that was a good match. And Rhea Ripley had her match with Ivy or whatever. That was a great match.
Yep.
Great match. So there was some good matches, and then and then with everything with the Judgment Day on our Truth, and it was great.
Even the Tegan Knox Natalia match with forget the Zoe Stark part of it, but you know, with Shayna Baszler, that tag match wasn't even awful.
Yeah, that's true.
It
Will
was
Rhea
a de- it
Ripley
was a
defend her
decent-
World's Women's Champion? Where are we
Probably.
talking?
I'm assuming he's at WrestleMania, right?
I mean, she's got to defend it
He
at
has
Mania.
to. Whoever wins the Women's Royal Rumble, you do mean at the Elimination Chamber?
Well, she is Australian.
This is
Right.
true.
Chicago's
So-
winning the Royal Rumble.
Who's winning it?
Oh, her pop is going to be amazing over there.
Wait,
Right.
who did you say is going to win the Royal Rumble?
Jay Cargill.
Oh, Jade Cargill. I'm sorry.
Okay. Wow.
I mean,
Choices are
that's
AJ
fine,
Lee
yeah.
or Jay Cargill.
Your choices are AJ Lee or Jade Cargill. Got it. My choice is bed. Goodbye.
well, and I will say this: there are videos of AJ getting back in the ring and hitting the ropes
Right.
and training a little bit, which is heightening the speculation that she may actually return at the Rumble, and that would be awesome. If she returns, does she win? That I don't know. I could see Jade winning. That would be a shock, but that's if they think she's ready. And clearly
Right.
they didn't think she was ready for TV yet because she's been at Performance. Plus, she did have some personal shit go on too. I think her mom passed away. Well, that's so she's been dealing with some shit. But Rumble's around the corner, so hopefully she's ready for that.
Sasha Banks will come in at number 21 and win the Rumble.
wow.
I'd be okay with that.
I don't know. I pulled that out of my ass. 21 is my favorite number, but it works if it happens.
Dave says
I could always
AJ
come
versus Becky at Mania.
But
I
Al,
mean,
you think with after all they spent on Jade Cargill and everything to bring her up and have these mini vignettes and everything with her, that they're going to put her by the wayside too if Sasha comes back?
Have you seen what's been happening to the men?
Touche.
Don't
Yeah,
ever
you think they're gonna make that switch
knock
to Mystic
WWE
twice?
out for a pop.
that's true. AJ versus Becky at Mania. I would get on board for that for sure.
I want to see
That
but
would be
AJ Styles
awesome.
is so much bigger than her.
Bianca Belair.
Ooh.
AJ
What'd you say?
versus Becky.
AJ versus Bianca is what he wants to say.
That wouldn't be bad.
I want to
It
see
wouldn't be
Bianca versus what's her face, Jade Cargill.
Who against
That's
Io
what I
Sky?
want to see.
I don't know if I want to see that yet.
I
He
do.
said he said or AJ against Io.
I mean, they would have to bring her out soon for they could have the the hype and the.
Well,
Yeah.
right. They'd have to build on it
have
unless
to
they
build on
start
it.
something. Unless they start something in the Rumble. Like, what if Jade eliminates Bianca, and then that starts something going forward from Rumble to Mania?
Well,
Oh, yeah,
if
that could be
Jade
something.
is in the Rumble, I cannot see her losing because that might probably be her first match, and she's not gonna lose her first match.
The only way I would see her losing the Rumble is if it was like they all ganged up and they got
Right.
her over. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
It wouldn't be like, Becky Lynch just like clotheslines her over the top or anything. Like it would be like 10 of them that like throw her over. That's the only way I see her going out.
Yeah, I was kind of picturing it the same way they would get out like Big Show or Kane or something like that.
Right.
That makes sense.
Sorry, had to be mom for a second.
Oh, that's quite all right. Yeah, it's a weird. We're in that weird space of like things are starting to take shape, but nothing is really definite. And I mean, even The Rock didn't. We're speculating based on rumors that the match is happening in Elimination Chamber. Maybe it does. Maybe it does, or maybe he's just there. They paid him to show up there, and he's not having a match. But then him and Roman have a confrontation or something.
No. See, the fact that The Rock
no.
No. The fact that The Rock said it in the middle of the ring,
Yeah,
he laid the gauntlet. That
But he
match
didn't
is
say when.
happening. He didn't say when,
Right.
but it's definitely happening.
but that's
Whether
what I'm
it's
saying. So
at the
maybe
Chamber or Mania, it is happening.
But maybe they were bringing him to the Elimination Chamber because there were reports from Australian news sites that the tourism board was looking to get Dwayne The Rock Johnson at the Elimination Chamber event, and they were going to use some of their budget that they, their federal budget for tourism to bring him in for Elimination Chamber. So, but it doesn't mean he's wrestling. So what I'm saying is maybe he comes out, and he doesn't have a match at Elimination Chamber. Whatever they do in Elimination Chamber definitively sets up
WrestleMania.
him against Reigns at WrestleMania.
But they could also at the Elimination Chamber, if this thing is if the Elimination, this is also a thing going back and forth, they could also put him up against Jimmy or Solo at the Elimination Chamber.
Oh, I see what you're
That's
saying.
possible too, because I still think either way they're going to set up Jimmy versus Jay at Mania too. I think that's
Exactly, but this could be, but then you could have, if it's Solo, Jimmy in one corner, Jay in the other for The Rock, and then that sets that up, builds up that storyline too.
David Roscoe over at YouTube. Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch at the Rumble. I'm definitely okay with that.
Mhm.
Although I have a feeling after what just took place, I think her feud with Nia is not over. But
Right.
we'll have to see. Welcome back, Kevin from Facebook.
Hey-o.
I finally made it to catch you guys. What's up, Kev? What's up with you? Glad you made it. We missed you
Because
around
open
here.
enrollment's finally almost over. We get our lives back.
Right? Seriously. What about, we haven't really talked about this. Becky either wins the Rumble or the Elimination Chamber and goes on to face Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. Is that the match that they want to make?
I don't know. I think the fact that Charlotte isn't there is throwing some wrenches in that plan because I'm pretty sure Charlotte
Right.
had a role in that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, next best thing right now, probably Becky and Rhea.
But
Why
is
the
it
hell
Becky?
not?
Would Becky go after Rhea, or do you think Becky goes after the Damage Control girl?
Oh, that's true too.
Because aren't they're on the same show, right?
Although something tells me they're going to be setting up Bailey versus Io at Mania.
Okay, Alex, say what you wanted to say when Al said that.
It's Io.
He goes, the
Io.
damage
There you
control
go.
girl. He goes, it's Io.
You know what? I was gonna call her Gio. Thank God I didn't say the name. And
He just got so mad.
Oh, Io Sky. Sorry. Won't do it again.
Sorry for mispronouncing something.
Yeah.
You know,
Dave says Becky doesn't need a belt. That's also very true. She doesn't need to have a title match. My only thing is that now that Charlotte's out, who's going to be? I mean, do you put Bianca back in the title mix? Do you put? We have to see. I mean, now that'll start.
Bailey's not a bad
shape at
move.
Mania.
Bailey's definitely not a bad move for Io. My question is, refresh my memory again. What are the girls on SmackDown on Raw for Mommy? You got Bailey. I mean, you got
Becky's on Raw.
You got Becky. Oh yeah, well Becky. Then the Becky comes back on the fold. You're right.
There's Becky. There's Tegan.
Yeah.
I just don't see her dropping the belt
There's
yet.
Chelsea Green.
Oh God, yeah.
I don't see her dropping the belt yet, regardless who she wrestles. I think she keeps going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's too
Chelsea
hot,
Green.
man. She's on the hottest group. She's the leader of the hottest group. You know, the crowd loves her, regardless she's a heel or not.
Right.
I don't think you let that go yet.
Kevin says to put the belt back on Bianca. There's a lot of people that agree with you. I think she's another one that doesn't need the belt right now. She had it for a whole year, pretty
Had it
much.
for a long ass time.
I think if she was to win it back, it's going to be a short reign.
She wanted it 2 WrestleManias.
I think the setup of Bailey versus Io is kind of writing itself, right?
Yeah.
They're going to turn on Bailey. Bailey's going to want her revenge. Whether Sasha comes back in the fold or not, I think that's what you're going to see. If Io holds the belt till Mania, which at this point I think she should.
I have a question. Since you have a few females rumored to be signed or come up or whatever, do you give Bailey her own team and team her up with 2 other girls as a face team, and they go up against Damage Control and she takes the belt?
A new faction.
Like a new faction, yeah.
Bailey, Sasha Banks, AJ Lee.
I only got the first 2 names.
You said
Who do you
Bailey,
think?
Sasha Banks, and AJ Lee.
Wow, that'll be that's Christmas already. That's Christmas come early.
Right.
I mean, that would be amazing.
Right.
But we're also jumping the gun on AJ.
We need to
Yeah,
write
we
to
don't know
Kevin.
for sure.
We need to ask Nick Khan for you to take Kevin Dunn's place because you've done better in the past 10 minutes than he's done in the last 30 years.
He just had bad camera cuts.
That's a bonus.
Right.
Well, that's a bonus.
So we got about 20 minutes left or so.
Yeah.
We should probably talk a little AEW.
All right. So did you hear this shit?
You can say goodnight. Go ahead.
Good
Good night, bud.
Yes.
As
Good
he
night.
goes to suck it in. Do you see this?
Hey, wait, Steve.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
No. What?
Make sure of Cody Rhodes losing to Roman Reigns.
Make sure Cody Rhodes loses to. He thinks you're a booker. I don't know why he thinks you're a booker.
I wish I was. I wish they paid me like one. I do
Right.
the best I can.
Yeah. So before we get
And
into
Vince, by the way,
brass
that was not
tacks,
Big Heck. I think we established that.
There was a guy in the background of AEW.
I saw your
that was
chat.
Big Heck. was
I
just
would have
watching the
known
show.
if Heck was there. He would have said, look out for
But
him.
I don't know. The guy had like a hat backwards the same way he would wear it, and then
He did look just
facial
like him.
hair looked the same. Okay, glad I'm not. It's not just me being dumb. But did you hear about this thing? It happened like literally right before the show, where Chris Jericho has been going back and forth with this Nick Hausman, who's just an absolute shithouse of a wrestling journalist. Like, and I use that phrase loosely. He's like, and then Cornette jumped in on it, and then Brian Last, Brian Last is the co-host, and then Stephen New, who's Cornette's attorney, who's defending Punk or representing Punk and Ace Steel. They all jumped in on this thing where Nick Hausman accused Chris Jericho of a few things. He implied that Chris Jericho was behind the Kylie Ray thing. When AEW signed Kylie Ray and then she left, there were rumors that she was assaulted or something backstage. Hausman kind of intimated that it was Jericho, intimated that he made her sign an NDA. intimated that Jericho's made several women sign NDAs, and then also said that Jericho was like the wrestling equivalent of Harvey Weinstein, which is like a really heavy allegation to levy against somebody. And then Kylie Ray didn't say much. She sent a heart emoji to somebody else, not even Nick Houseman, just somebody else. And basically the entire internet exploded over Saturday, sharpening their knives and getting their pitchforks and their torches ready to run Chris Jericho out of town. And now today, Nick Houseman plops his fat fucking ass down on a podcast, and within the first 3 minutes of the podcast says he doesn't know anything concrete. He doesn't have any proof. He doesn't have any whatever. Basically, he said what he said about Jericho because it was a Twitter beef, and he just needed something mean or nasty to say about him, and it didn't necessarily have to be true because he was mad, and he said something just to say it because he knew it was going to bother him. So they, these internet journalists, and then of course the subset of anti-AEW people, rallied around this, demanded. They were saying Chris Jericho should be fired from AEW. Chris Jericho shouldn't be on the pay-per-view. When Chris Jericho came out on the pay-per-view, he got booed. People were chanting,
which is even worse there because he's from Long Island.
Right. So the whole thing sucks. It fucked up the pay-per-view. It fucked up that match for sure.
You just made the list.
It had a whole pall. That whole pay-per-view kind of had a pall or a weird feeling around it because of that. Even though none of it was true, and Tony Khan did the right thing by just going forward with his plan because there was no proof. And again, not that there was no proof; it was a completely falsified situation, and somebody said something slanderous about Chris Jericho. And I hope Chris Jericho is thinking about suing Nick Houseman, who's, like I said, just an asshole. So,
fucking messed up thing to do.
With all that being said, and it's not an excuse, this was not the best AEW pay-per-view ever, and might go up as one of the worst.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting a lot of criticism.
With the asterisk being, as soon as the women's TBS championship match went on with Julia Hart.
Yeah.
That's when the pay-per-view picked back up. Because the opening match was very good. There was an opening 8-man tag match that was very good. The next couple matches just weren't it. The Julia Hart match was pretty good. Then you get the fucking Moxley Eddie Kingston match, which is phenomenal. And Eddie Kingston is the guy. Like Eddie Kingston, I personally,
that was the right choice.
Yeah.
I watched Eddie Kingston sit on the bench in the locker room of a middle school maybe 15 years ago, and he's sitting there near tears going, I did another tryout with WWE and they don't want me. They say I'm out of shape. They say I'm too fat. They say that, all this stuff. He's like, they don't want me, man. They don't want. It felt like that scene with Will Smith talking about his dad, and he was like sitting there in this locker room.
Don't want me, man.
Yeah, it felt like that. And I'm just sitting there watching this guy pour his heart out, talking about, nah, man, I did another one. They didn't want me. And now he's one of the biggest fucking names in pro wrestling. And I just love to see that it's 15 years overdue for a guy like Eddie Kingston. And the main event kind of went the way I thought.
I mean,
Samoa
it was
Joe,
pretty predictable, with the reveal.
But
at least it wasn't. It wasn't
Jack Perry.
Right.
It wasn't any of these goofy things. I even thought it might have been Britt. It's not Britt. That's fine.
It wasn't Mustafa Ali. No,
although she could have been a part of it. She could have been a
she
part
could
of
definitely
it.
be.
You know what I mean? But the fact that you got to see the Kingdom and Wardlow and was and then Cole sitting in the chair. I mean, he couldn't do much because he's still legit is hurt. So
right, and then he pulled the mask out. You kind of saw as soon as Adam Cole came out for commentary and he's wearing all black.
Yeah.
like Luke at the beginning of Return of the Jedi. You're like, oh, all right, he's a bad guy today.
Now, let me ask you this. Here's another question now. So the theme for the last 2 to 3 years with MJF has been the storyline of the bidding war of 24. Now, he did lose.
Uh-huh.
He now has officially been taken off the AEW roster.
Right.
Now that's causing speculation that the bidding war is going to begin, blah, blah, blah. I think it's a work.
I think it is at this point.
I think
as
he
well.
already resigned with
It has to
AEW.
Right.
And
He
I
signed
think-
he,
already.
yeah.
He signed already. They were just doing that. Remember, they did that once to us and we fell for it.
Yeah, because I think he did. I think he extended around that time where he left that thing in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did that once. I mean, look,
Interesting
it worked.
question.
Right.
Are you
it
sure
works.
that-
It has us talking? But like we've seen it already.
Right. Are you sure that Cole is the devil? He never took the mask off. Well, he took it out of his pocket,
Yeah, he took it out of his pocket.
but
like,
that's true. He never took it off his head. I mean, technically.
Oh, Brick could have been
We
the
were
ringleader
all-
the entire time.
we were all waiting for the moment of the, it was me, Austin. It was me all
Right.
along. You know what I mean? We were all waiting for the unmasking.
It should have been Tony Khan.
Oh, that would have been so fucking funny.
Well,
but even
let me. Has the mask actually ever done any wrestling maneuvers? Like, has he ever actually been physically the one doing anything backstage, or has he always been just watching?
No, he just
No,
comes out afterwards.
Right, just
and
say he's never done anything. Right. So yeah.
He's the
so,
mob boss. He's the mob
exactly.
boss.
So pretty much, yeah. It probably is. It definitely is Adam Cole.
yeah, but I mean, he was sitting there like with the guy. I mean, they beat the shit out of MJF. So you have to assume he's the devil.
No,
Unless
no.
they
I
come
just
on
meant from the
Wednesday.
perspective of if he wasn't, if he actually did anything physical, because that would kind of be a lead to, okay, maybe there is another member that we
Yes,
don't
and he
know
wasn't-
about.
Yes,
You know,
Right.
that is also true. In a lot of the footage we saw of the masked person, there wasn't any limping with the walking. And Adam Cole
Yeah.
has a severe limp right now. So he's bringing up a point. This may not be over yet in terms of another revelation.
Perhaps.
That's
But
a
it's
good
gonna
point.
have to-
Like I said, he did walk every time. He didn't have a crutch. He didn't have.
And
But then we
and
still saw Roderick Strong still in the wheelchair half the time too, though, when we know he was okay.
and I got to say
Roderick
this
Strong,
too.
sorry.
I really hope MJF did resign. As much as I would mark out if his music hits and they get the rights to that music for the Royal Rumble and he came out. But at the end of the day, I just am terrified of what WWE will do to him and
He
limit
wouldn't fit
what
in.
he'd be allowed to do. I mean, he won't be able to say 99% of the shit he says now
Right.
and get away with it. So he's better off staying with Khan. So we'll see. But I think he already resigned.
Yeah.
This goo goo gaga face that you see on Autumn right now is because Grayson Waller just came on TV, so she's like dreamboating
Ugh.
over here.
Ooh, I love my Australian boys.
Oh Jesus!
Ooh.
And Rhea Ripley.
I mean,
Oh,
Rhea
yeah,
Ripley.
Yeah, we all agree with you. on that one.
Now you're talking. So he has to finish his story. Everyone's got to finish their fucking story.
Well, so the story here with MJF, the bidding war, yeah, they took him off the roster on the website. I guess the real life thing is he's deciding whether or not he should have shoulder surgery or just do rehab. Because I guess for the shoulder surgery, remember when Sami Zayn did it to both shoulders right before wrestling John Cena and then wrestled the whole last match and then had to have both shoulders surgically repaired. It takes a while for a shoulder surgery like that to
I mean, he
Yeah.
has earned some extended time off, to be fair.
Yeah.
And it would work with story. Like, all right, he's out of
but if
sight,
he's
out
out
of
of
mind. and-
like but then he's off. What if he's off TV for 9 months? That was the guy. He was like your guy for 400 and something days.
I
He will get the biggest pop since Triple H when he came back from that ACL tear.
Oh yeah,
And,
he's
and you know
definitely
what
got-
else too? He's the type of guy that can come out week after week and just talk shit. You know what I mean?
He could do the Randy.
Yeah,
Orton,
commentary,
the RNN updates.
do the updates. Oh, that would be great. God, I used to hate those back in the day.
Yeah, and, I mean Randy Orton. Do you remember the haircut he had?
Oh, that's a good call too. If there's still merch up, he's not going anywhere.
Very true.
I'm pretty sure we can find some of his merch on AEW.com.
Yeah, it'd be really funny if they did. If it was all just like 75% off.
Like a blowout sale.
Yeah, just like MJF
Autumn's checking the merch right
merch.
now to say
Oh, there we go.
Let's
See, we can make her Ryan 2.0.
Can I?
There you go. Well, let's see how quickly you can get us this information.
Let's see. Let's go to search.
Yeah, because usually we're sitting here trying to think of
MJF.
stuff and be like, what is the answer? And then
I need
we
the
go, Ryan's
Jeopardy
the one
music.
who just-
Nope, it is not found.
That's pretty great.
Oh shit! So they did take his merch off?
That's pretty great.
MJF is
That's
not found.
hilarious.
I literally
Wow.
look. Shop AEW.
Yep.
Shop AEW. All caps. And I'll do it. I'll even do MJF right here.
That's
Error.
I mean-
Page not found.
Yep.
they're dedicated to
There was
that.
no
that's-
MJF merchandise on there.
That's
You're
really
hired.
funny. Yeah,
I'm
she got the job. Sure. Yeah.
You make about the same amount of pay as the rest of us.
How about that? Oh,
David Roskinger Stratus versus.
Okay, here we go.
Well, we're back to the.
Go
ahead,
I also
take this one.
wanted to point out about Ty Dillinger. Just have to say that. How
What
he
about
left
Ty
AEW.
Dillinger?
He
Oh
left
yeah, Ty
AEW.
Dillinger's contract.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, because he knocked up Peyton again, and they're having
Meh.
another kid. God bless
That
him.
was iconic.
I give him a standing ovation.
I give him a perfect 10.
Like Nadia.
I give it a 10,
Yes.
a fucking 10. 10.
Welcome.
That's a
Back
bad
around.
word.
It is a bad word. Well, this is why it's the War Report After Dark.
This is
Yeah.
and if I went through your cell phone, how
Yeah,
many
never
times
mind.
would I find it?
Never
Exactly.
mind.
You know what's funny too? Also notice The Rock came out exactly at 10 o'clock.
Yep.
Because he wouldn't
So
have
we
been
could
able
say
to say
douchebag
half
and
the shit-
asshole.
An asshole, right.
Yeah.
And bitch.
He did say bitch.
That
too,
had
that's
to have
true.
been the best part though when he was doing the Iron Sheik part. Oh my god.
Oh, that was great.
I was,
That was great.
dying.
Hey Bubba, I hear you. Who is this pansy asshole?
Thank you, Tina.
But I was impressed with Jinder. Don't hinder Jinder. He cut a hell of
Vince,
a
are you
promo.
okay?
Why?
Because you look like you were in pain for a second there.
Oh, I'm very Like I wasn't congested an hour ago, and if you listen to the show, you will just hear me get slowly more congested throughout.
I
the
heard,
course
but no,
of
but
this
you just
show.
put a grimace across your face like I'm fucking done. So I was like, are you okay?
it's the. I mean, I'm counting it down. We got 7.5 minutes here. And I'm very congested, so like I'm gonna go have like a cup of tea or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, and by the way, during Raw, they had to stop a match. It was a legit injury,
Yeah, that was.
but
scary.
apparently he's okay. Giovanni from
Giovanni
Imperium. That was not a work. They decided to stop the match. You don't see very often the doctor actually like in the ring before the bell
Right.
rings.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
but
was knocked
I
out.
don't know any of the true detail. I know where it happened. It was the super drop kick off the top
Yeah.
from Kofi.
Yeah, yep.
But the only thing I've heard is a tweet from him that said, "I'm okay."
Yeah. I mean,
So I don't know if maybe he
Yeah,
maybe
they
has a
haven't
concussion.
said
They
exactly
haven't really.
what it was.
right.
But that
And then,
was
he's
scary.
got to go through that. It
Yeah.
was because he was like legit knocked out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you can tell when somebody's out just the way
Well,
he's stiffened up.
even Kaiser, like the way he was reacting on the apron, you could tell.
Right.
that
And he
something-
wanted, I give him a lot of credit. The other guy, Kaiser, wanted to try and do something to finish the match.
and then they rang the
ref-
bell.
Backed him into the corner and rang the bell, which is great. I'm glad, in the old days, they would have rolled that guy out of the ring onto a stretcher and just had the match play out the way it needed to end.
Yeah.
Which
Well, they gotta they gotta take it.
right. Oh no, I think you have to take that kind of injury when somebody's knocked out like that. You have to take it seriously because it's your brain. Your brain.
I
is the most
I was just
important part.
surprised that he rolled right out of the ring and started walking with help, but walking like that should have been an
Yeah.
immediate stretcher, stabilize the neck.
They
kind
should
of
have told
thing.
him to stay down. Yeah.
Right. Although he also heard the bell ring, maybe he didn't realize, and his instinct was to
He
roll
made-
out of the ring.
He rolled over and he army
Yeah.
crawled and made a tag. Like he
Yeah.
made the wrestling I'm going slow hot tag and tagged, but then
Yeah.
it was once he got knocked out and then he came back up and tried to do that, I'm like, Jesus, just stay down. So
Yeah, but you give him, I mean, listen, you give him credit for trying.
Right.
It's live TV, but at that kind of thing, you're right. Just stay down. Things, unfortunately, it happens,
Yeah, and as long as he's okay, hopefully it's not a concussion. It's not something that's like, career altering.
Yeah.
I think it was probably a stinger of some sort or whatever.
Oh,
like
yeah,
just
that
got the
could be
wind
it,
knocked
for
out
sure.
of him because he tweeted probably less than 2 hours later, "I'm fine." If that was a concussion, they would have had him.
I don't even think it was 2 hours, honestly. I think I saw it like within
That may
an
have been
hour.
when I saw it then, but like I said,
Yeah.
it was relatively quick. I think he's got the wind knocked out of him.
Yeah. Well, and I think he might even got knocked. I mean, just because you get knocked out doesn't mean you have a concussion. So that, even if it's a flash, like what they call a flash knockout, happens in MMA. Sometimes you'll see a guy get knocked
That
out.
would
They
be
call
also
the
why
fight.
when he rolled out of the ring, he was able to walk with assistance. Like he did not have
Yeah.
like major glassy eye or anything like that. He was cognitive. He was cognitive. It just
Right.
knocked the shit out of him.
You're right. He got his bell rung for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good way of putting it.
All right. Well, that's bringing us right up to the top of the
Did you
hour.
just-
Anybody have anything else they want to cover before we wrap it up and take it over?
She just said
The
he
damn
just
shame we didn't mention LA Knight.
Dude,
Yeah.
we
sucks,
said
man.
this was gonna happen, though. We said as soon as
Yeah.
LA Knight wrestles Roman Reigns, it's fucking over. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the problem. Like, the problem is you either have him beat Roman Reigns or you don't have him wrestle Roman Reigns at all.
Yep.
Like, there was no reason for him to wrestle Roman. He could go after any of the other championships, Intercontinental, U.S. Championship, the KFC chicken crisper 24/7, whatever he wants to. And
I-97 European Championship.
Right, go after anything
South.
but Roman Reigns, because then that's something like even Seth Rollins. LA Knight is another guy like Drew who didn't do it last night, but he's leaving, so I guess it doesn't matter. His contract might be up. Of another guy that could beat Seth Rollins. LA Knight could absolutely beat Seth Rollins, and everybody that's challenged Seth Rollins, we've been saying just to freshen things up, they should beat him. I know they're not because of WrestleMania, but like LA Knight, if he didn't wrestle Roman at all, should have wrestled Seth. Because then he could beat Seth and be like, all right, at least this guy, he's a world champion. He's not the world champion, but he's a world champion. I agree with you, Al. I feel that.
There's no way they are putting Roman Reigns in a 4-way match.
Here's my problem with this comment from David Roscoe.
Ooh.
This match is happening.
He-
And because none of them are going to be a part of WrestleMania in regards to Roman Reigns. They're all going to. Go ahead, Autumn.
Because if someone this isn't gonna happen, but Randy could pin LA Knight, Randy wins the title. Someone else could pin someone else to win the title. Well, I
Yeah.
don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, there's
you
no
pull
way
out
that
of
they're not
chair,
risking that
my ass
streak
off.
on
I
that
don't
match.
think going out of it.
Yeah, but at the same time, if there are 4 people in the match, Roman can do way less work.
That's true.
Well, that's very true. Well, do
That's
you
what
want
I
him
was
to
just
do?
going to say. I said,
Vince,
great. I was
do you
going to
want
have
him
3
to-
people to pin on top of instead of 2.
Exactly, yeah.
Do you
Stack
want
them,
him
pin
to?
'em.
Do you want him to do less work than he's done with his 11 matches last year? Want to take it a little lighter on him?
My favorite thing is that Al is so aware of how many matches Roman Reigns wrestled last year.
11, excuse my language,
This
fucking
would've been-
matches.
I agree, dude. I'm right there with you.
And
man.
if Eddie was here,
We
he
might
would
as
name
well
all
get him a
11.
stunt
You know
double.
how-
That's true.
We might as well get him a stunt double. He rolls out of the ring, bottom of the ring, middle of the match. Wrestlers have the match.
Hey, before we
That's
take this home,
WrestleMania.
before we take this home,
WrestleMania.
when is Priest going to cash in now? Because he tried again last night. I mean, I
Oh
guess
my
it has to
God.
be Mania, right?
WrestleMania.
I forgot about that goddamn briefcase.
He cashes in against Punk at WrestleMania. Like Punk, let's say Punk went. They're going to do what they did with Edge. Which, oh, by the way, that was another one. Edge and Christian, or Adam Copeland and Christian, had a hell of a match.
Yeah, they beat the
That was
shit out of
The
each
best
other.
match of the show.
That was the match of the show, and I think they're going to do the same. So, Edge won and beat Christian, and then Luchasaurus won this battle royal that gave him basically a Money in the Bank contract for the TNT Championship. it was all a way to get Edge his moment of winning that championship, but then having somebody use Edge's signature opportunist thing against him. And Christian took Luchasaurus's contract, signed it, beat Edge, is still the TNT champion. I think that's the finish at WrestleMania, but a little different. It's Seth against Punk. Punk might win, but then the Judgment Day music hits, and then he's champion for 2 minutes before Damian Priest goes and cashes in.
And when does he get his title back? SummerSlam?
Who, Punk?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Next
Yeah,
night
I
on
would
Raw?
Or do you make him wait a
be
year?
pissed off if that happened.
Supposedly he's a changed man. Maybe he'll be patient.
I didn't say he'd be pissed off. I said I would be.
Oh, okay.
He would have hit somebody backstage. This is 2024. We don't do those things.
I wouldn't mind it. That is an absolute setup for him to go through. Oh my
Judgment
God!
Day.
Why am I forgetting Judgment Day? Go
get-
through Judgment Day all the way to SummerSlam and get his belt. I think it's a
Yeah.
great setup for that.
could
But
be.
again, Kat is right. Will he handle that? Can he handle that? Is he that of a changed man?
Probably not.
I don't know. I think he just wants to take selfies with people and have them suck his dick and be like, "Oh my God, remember that time you wrestled this match?"
He's got AJ for that. He don't need anybody
I mean,
else.
metaphorically suck his dick.
You never know.
I meant
Never
metaphorically.
know. I mean, there's Chris Jericho allegations. You never know. What's
Oh
going
my
on.
God! Now you're on this freaking bandwagon too.
And on that note, it is top of the
Please,
hour.
please, I have a lot
Yeah,
of
we got it.
explaining
We
to do to
can't.
a 15-year-old.
Conspiracy. Oh my God. Well, what a hell of a show. These shows, I don't know what it is. They've been flying by recently. I guess there's just a lot to talk about.
It's a great
we
time.
Oh,
appreciate
we
everybody.
didn't even finish Mount Rushmore.
No,
Yeah,
Jesus.
well, we weren't expecting
We
to have
weren't,
half the
right.
show
No, we
about
weren't
The Rock,
expecting to
though.
have. Right.
We'll
we were talking-
continue that maybe next week.
yeah, for real. But I mean, yeah, we had to talk about The Rock because
I'll do it next week because I haven't been on, but I do have my list, so I'm good.
Excellent. All right. So Kat's got her.
Oh,
list.
yeah.
We can always, we can pick that back up. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you everybody in the comments, both David A and David Rosca. Tara, thank you, and Kevin, welcome back. And then I think that was everybody. But if you're in there and you're listening and you want to drop a comment, please feel free. We love having people drop comments and questions and stuff, and then that kind of helps fuel our conversation. Follow us on social media at Tag Me a Date. That's at Tag Me a Date, no spaces. We're on most places on the internet under that. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter /X. All that other stuff is basically everything is at Tag Me a Date. YouTube is at Tag Me a Date. Type that in the search bar, hit subscribe, and hit the bell to get notified when we go live or upload a new video. We are also on Twitch. Twitch is the only different one. It's twitch.tv/War Report. That's all one word, WARREPORT. You can like us or favorite us or whatever it is over on Twitch as well. You can get the Twitch or YouTube archives, and you can just kind of go back and see past shows. If you want to go back and kind of see what we were talking about last week, if you missed an episode or you want to go back a year or right around WrestleMania to see what we were talking about then, cool little time capsule you can do there. You can also just watch the show weekly from the YouTube, from the Twitch, from Facebook. We stream on Twitter as well. We stream on LinkedIn. We stream on a bunch of stuff. We tried Instagram Live last week. I don't know if we're doing it again this week, but basically we're all over the place. Just take a look at Tag Me a Date, and it'll keep you updated on everything. And then if you prefer an audio version rather than the video version of the podcast, you can go to your favorite podcast app, Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play Podcast, Apple Podcast, and type in the War Report, Pro Wrestling Podcast, etc. You will find us. There are 2 wrestling podcasts named the War Report, but we've made it easy for you as the graphic and the description of the podcast mentions Tag Me a Date, etc. Mentions some of the cast of characters, and subscribe. Then when it's time, basically when this live stream goes off the air, within the hour of it going off the air, Ryan's nice enough to take the audio file and upload it to the podcast apps, and then it gets sent to your phone or tablet, so you can take it with you while you're driving or whatever it is you're doing throughout the day. And other than that, just spread the word, man. Share the podcast, share the links, let people know if you have friends that are wrestling fans and they're looking for something new to listen to, we're here for you. Hop in the chat, ask a question. We love having new people come in and join the bunch. So thank you to everybody who commented and played along today. We do appreciate you very much. And then we'll be back for the next one next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern time for another edition of the War Report. Have a nice week, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.